Hi guys, my name is Aloisio Rocha. I work at NetEnt. Are any of you familiar with online casino brands? Cool. So that's where you go play your slot games online. We at NetEnt, we operate over 200 of these brands. I'm very excited to be here today. It's my first time presenting at this event, so I'm honored to have been invited. Today I'm going to share with you our journey from slow release velocity to a place where we're automated, repeatable, and fast. I'm going to go through where we were, what we did about our situation, what we achieved, and what we learned. So by the end of this, I'm hoping you'll come away with some good takeaways or guidelines on how we managed to achieve this. So like I said, my name's Aloisio Rocha. I work in the casino operations department at NetEnt. That's me up there in the corner, if you can see it. And this is my old application management team. We were in charge of deployments and managing our live environments. I've been at NetEnt for over 4 years now, different roles and positions. Currently, I'm an Agile product owner. Before NetEnt, I was working with application performance, monitoring, load testing, one of the leading application performance and monitoring companies out of Stockholm. So before I go on, I want to show you a quick video about NetEnt so you get a feeling about what we do and what we're all about.
It's okay. Brilliant.
Wrong guy. Yeah. Okay. Kind of cool to do. I wish it was. All right. Perfect. So a bit more about NetEnt. We're a provider of gaming solutions and games, just like you saw. We're a 24/7 shop. We do mobile, desktop, live casino games on top of our platform. We operate out of 6 data centers around the world, managing over 2,000 virtual servers in our live environments. There are over 110 million gaming transactions running through our systems on a daily basis, roughly 16 times the New York Stock Exchange in terms of gaming transactions. And if you ask me, deployment is bread and butter for us. Bit more about our main application, our platform. It's your basic Java app, clustered application server, database for transactions, reporting, that kind of thing. We provide this kind of setup for each one of our customers, which are the brands you visit online. There are surrounding services, of course, to make everything work, but this is the core of our system. We also provide and manage a test environment for each of our customers. So imagine 200 or 300 of these brands or these setups and test environments, which look the same. Add the supporting services to that. It just becomes unmanageable. The scale of things quickly becomes overwhelming. It just kind of hurts to look at this slide. So this is how we used to handle deployments of software on our platform. We had 1 person per deployment, 2 to 4 hour maintenance windows, meaning downtime for the customer and revenue loss. We had 30 to 40 step checklists, which you all know, fat fingering and all that kind of stuff. It's pretty risky. We had to interact with multiple systems during a deployment for a single customer. So logging onto servers, blocking firewalls, logging onto database to upgrade that, logging back onto application server to upgrade that one. Dependencies on other teams. So getting a database guy to take snapshots of the database, getting a network guy to do some other cool stuff. A lot of running around, interacting with different systems, hard to keep track of what you were doing. Really messy situation. And this kind of setup basically only scaled for us by hiring more people to follow checklists. So this was the kind of general feeling in the team, upgrade mornings, which was almost every morning. Like I said, we only scaled by hiring more people. So at one point, I think we were over 18 people in my team. Considering deployment of this specific application was not the only thing we had to do. We had other stuff to do to keep the business running, other deployments or configurations to manage. And we didn't just sit idly by, ugly crying like this every morning either. We tried to do something about our situation, raise awareness and attention around the problems we were seeing. This is a value delivery analysis we did around 2 years ago, I think, where we were trying to show what we were spending our time on. So as you can see by the greenish fields, those are the positive or revenue gaining activities that were going on. So we had onboarding at 6%, so onboarding new customers, bringing in new business. GA games, so delivering new games to the market. And process improvements, that was us kind of trying to make our lives easier, small automations, other process improvements. You can also argue that compliance patching, in certain cases, also revenue gaining, if that meant we were being compliant in an existing market or getting compliant to enter a new market. But for the most part, we were spending our time on fixing bugs, deploying bug fixes at a slow pace. New features up top, not that many. So we were feeling the pain. Applications not being developed with deployment in mind. So developers focused on cranking code, which they should, but no one was really paying attention to deployment at scale. You have the classic handover scenarios. I think you guys recognize. Throw it over the wall and hopefully someone will take care of it. Our business was expanding rapidly. We were aggressive, onboarding new customers more frequently, new markets opening up, new business opportunities to pursue. All good problems, but from a deployment point of view, we just knew we couldn't keep up. Our time to market was suffering. Like you saw in the previous slide, not really that many features going out, so products on the shelf. So what if something happened that forced us to deploy at scale, considering we were slow already? Of course something happened. We had to deploy a compliance fix across 70% of our customer base. This was a business critical fix for us in a market that was very important to us as a company. We knew pretty early on in my team we wouldn't be able to cope. So what could we do? Well, any new features that were not business critical were put on hold. Same with any bugs that were not business critical, also put on hold. We pulled in 2 other teams, or people from 2 other teams, to help with this specific deployment. We called it the Big Bang Task Force. This Big Bang Task Force would deploy the patch on 70% of the customer base. We were 10 or more people doing this, 2 to 4 hours a day, 4 days a week, for 18 months. Imagine 10 people sitting around for 18 months, copy-pasting from checklists. Just the cost in terms of productivity, efficiency, employee retention, even revenue gain, considering we were kind of slow already before. By the end, the Big Bang Task Force delivered. They did their job. They got this patch out there. It took time, but they did their job. Very stressful situation. People handled it in different ways, but we managed. Although we knew we couldn't be able to cope with a situation like this again. Next time, we might not have 18 months. Could be out of business by then. So we started to formulate a mission. We wanted to solve the business needs first. Deployment to customers in our case. We needed to mitigate risk. So like I said, we might not have 18 months next time. We needed to enable compliance. So deploy and deploy fast wherever we needed to be compliant or enter a new market to be compliant in that space. We set a hard timeline for deployment across the entire customer base to 2 weeks. So your typical audit or security timeline. And we didn't want any bargaining on that timeline. We just needed to get it out there. Being able to cope with dev velocity, that's a given. So handle anything they needed to get out there. And enabling time to market. So basically enabling ourselves to roll our portfolio the way we wanted to. So this initiated the project Time to Market. It was a technical initiative, so people from development, ops, tools people, QA testers, they would fulfill these mission parameters. And the main focus of the project was, of course, deployment automation. So taking the stuff where we spend most of our time on, automate all that. Since we were deploying to customers, we were essentially driving the business. So deployment needed to be painless. I think if you're familiar with the State of DevOps reports, you'll recognize this. Deployment success correlates with DevOps success and employee retention. In hindsight, I think this applied to us very well. And I think it was one of the main reasons why I jumped at the chance to join the project. We also wanted to remove technical impediment. So taking those checklists, automating them, every step, checking them off as we went. Taking all our decision and approval gates, automate those as well. So no more dependencies on other teams. We wanted one interface for streamlining and consistency. So no more jumping around between different systems. We needed to have a platform or a self-service approach to the automation. And the visibility. We needed to have, in every step of the automation process, needed to be visible and traceable to us. We wanted to be compliant in the automation as well. So how did we go about implementing? We sat down with the brain trust. So the same people that were in the project, developers, tools guys, QA testers, us from ops, and took those checklists, went through every step, added whatever was needed, created feature requests to development to create APIs in our platform, facilitating automation. And we really started to model the deployment and release process, which also brought the visibility we wanted. We didn't want any black box automation. I think you guys can recognize all those magic scripts people have that do fantastic stuff, but no one really knows what's going on behind it. We didn't want that. We wanted to orchestrate all tools in one platform. We use Electric Flow for this. It brings the visibility and the whole automation and orchestration to us. And we wanted to eliminate those throw over the wall scenarios. So no more manual handoffs, and accelerate the feedback. This chart represents deployments per engineer over time. So today, what used to take 2 to 4 hours roughly takes 15 minutes. Those 30 to 40 step checklists, they're gone. Today, the people deploying enter the deployment target in the platform and push go. What used to take 10 or more people 18 months to do, today 2 people can do in roughly 2 weeks. So in the beginning of the year, January 17, we started to offer the automation to the engineers, adding features and automation iteratively. Deployments started to go up as well. But what was interesting to me is what happened around March, April, where we started to notice some instability in the automation and the platform. And the people using it were kind of almost going back to the checklists because this was something new to them and the checklists were familiar. We didn't want that, so we focused entirely on stabilizing and building automation into building trust into the automation and securing trust in us as a team offering the automation. So stabilizing and building trust, which proved to be a huge success. As we can see that by after April, the amount of deployments per engineers just skyrocketed because we had established trust. And by July, August somewhere, we had actually increased our deployment efficiency by 4,000%. We're still growing after that. Some of the benefits we've seen from this: the whole process is now automated, repeatable. We're scaling by automation today and not people. The whole process is visible to us. We have traceability and are compliant. We're actually spending our time on creating business advantage instead of sitting around copy-pasting all day. And we have achieved time to market for our platform. Some of the lessons we learned: in the beginning of the project, we had the mindset of completing everything, the automation and the platform, before delivering it to the engineers. This was a waste, and it was lucky that we noticed it in time, because we weren't getting those early wins, the fast feedback that we needed. So we changed the approach to working with MVPs, minimum viable products, getting those fast, valuable iterations, that precious feedback got to us faster, really valuable. Buy-in, really important for us, and it's always good to have from stakeholders, your managers, or other teams. It really helps drive the initiative and gets the momentum up. Target solving the business needs first. That's where you get the most bang for your buck, definitely. Like I mentioned before, build trust, both in what you're delivering, the automation or your feature, and in the team providing it. It pays off in so many ways. Show value and early, so prototype it or MVP it, whatever you can do to get people invested and get that buy-in. Promote or market the initiative, also to get people invested and build curiosity around your project or initiative. So if you leave here with anything today, I would say remember, work with MVPs, small iterations, get that fast feedback, provide value early. Target the business needs first. That's definitely where you will get most value. And build trust. It pays off. All right. If you have any questions, come grab me afterwards, or I don't know if I'll run out of time. Okay. All right.
So what question? So you said it used to take 2 to 4 hours, so your customers had to shut down, which I'm sure they were really pleased about that. Has this made NetEnt more competitive because they can use faster? Is there any? How have your end customers recognized it?
They're really appreciative of the faster time, how fast we are in deploying. It's very much goodwill towards them. And we're actually looking into, we are able now today to do zero downtime deployments as well, which they appreciate. Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys.